This episode is brought to you by CloudPano. Adding more revenue to your business is simple. Offer more value. With CloudPano.com, you can create 360 virtual tours and present them to your clients quickly and efficiently. It only takes 5 minutes to create a VR tour on CloudPano.com and your clients will be thrilled. Plus, with the active community, you will constantly be supported by fellow digital media entrepreneurs just like you. Join the movement and try CloudPano.com today. Make sure to use the free demo and pre-sell your first virtual tour client. Then grab a Pro Plus membership. Get started for free at cloudpano.com.
This is Shooting Spaces with Rich Baum and Brian Berkowitz.
Welcome to Shooting Spaces, a real estate photography podcast with Rich Baum from Sacramento, California.
And Brian Berkowitz here from New York.
And we're freshly back from the PFRE Photography for Real Estate Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes. Did you catch up on some sleep?
Woo.
Did you catch up on some sleep, Rich?
Just actually catching up on some sleep. I'll tell you, man, it was just on so many levels. I mean, you got to almost compartmentalize it because it was so much fun, such a party, but the education and the networking and all the things that I expected it to, I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be that good. And I mean, it crossed my heart. It was a 2 thumbs up event and just so much fun. It's such a great time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you just go to your first ever conference, you really don't know what you're going to get going into it. And I guess you don't really even have expectations. But I think it blew everyone's expectations of whatever they had out of the water. I mean, just that first day walking into that room, I know you and I came in on Tuesday and we got a sneak peek of that room. And we were blown away just walking into that room and seeing what Brandon was able to put together. I was floored.
And it's like a Vegas showroom. It was literally a Vegas showroom, but it was just perfect for what we did. It's great.
Exactly. I think the message or the comments I received most were people were going to think this was like a big kind of like Hilton conference room, big white walls with, road seating, and people were just going to sit down with a legal pad of paper in front of them and just listen to people talk on stage. But it was actually quite the opposite. We had tables in the front where people can sit down, but there were booths all around. It was a very cozy room, had a really cool ambiance and vibe to it with, I guess the lights dimmed, and it was really just a really cool place. We had monitors all over the place behind and on the sides so people can show, the presenters can show slides. So it was really, really cool vibe to it.
And from a guy that has spent his whole life on stages doing stagehand and back behind the scene production, it was the hotel and the staff were as good as anything I've ever experienced. And that was a big deal because everything went off really smoothly. They had the big screen behind the stage, and they had 2 big, semi-big screens on the sides, and it was just awesome. It was just totally appropriate and just perfect. And so the booths were really fun, and we Shooting Spaces. Well, all the vendors had booths like the Vegas booths you would think of, and we had our own Shooting Spaces booths. So it was really great, and we did some interviews, and just it was so much fun. And you look around the room, and it literally you knew almost everybody there. If you spend any time in the Facebook groups or PFRE, you just know the people. And it really was wonderful because it put a face and a person along with the online presence. So, and best of all, I got to meet Brian Berkowitz for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, actually. I know there's a video of it somewhere. Actually, we have to ask Jordan Powers, who videoed that. There's a video of us meeting for the first time, but you kind of snuck up on me. I think you snuck up on me, pointed your finger on my back and said, "Give me your money." If I remember correctly. So
I don't doubt that I did a lot of stuff with that. Just, I don't know why I did it, but it seemed to be fun at the time. But no, it was great. And I had so many people from my YouTube channel come up, and it was just wonderful. And I think almost everybody else is still on the post-conference high. It has just been going on, and new photos are coming up online, and all kinds of stuff. So it's just great.
No, for sure. I mean, I got When you leave a conference like that, you leave completely motivated. And, when you go into your shoot, I was supposed to have a shoot that Friday afternoon, but it got postponed due to some personal reasons. But nevertheless, today was my first, we're recording this Monday night for anybody who doesn't know when this is happening. Today, I had my first actual shoot back since the conference, and I was motivated to go and slow down and get moving. So
That was one of my main. We're going to go over the individual people that spoke at the conference, and what I'm going to definitely talk about my takeaways. One of the takeaways was I think, really from Scott Hargis, just to slow the F down. And that was the big takeaway for me. Unfortunately, I got home at 10:30 in the morning. I flew into Sacramento, got in my car, went home, loaded up my car for a shoot, and I got to my shoot at 2:00 for a designer. And unfortunately, it was hurry, because, man, the designer, the project manager, not a designer, project manager was like, what's taking so long? And it's just, it was very frustrating, but I am still pumped, and so many things to think about after the conference that are just going to keep with me for this year and every year. So really excited.
I saw you post some of those images, and they were some of the best I've seen from you. So I think you were inspired. I think you were inspired at the conference.
Yeah. It was inspirational that for the people, especially the people listening to this, that were not able to come. I just can't express enough how there's on so many levels, it's such an important thing to do. And next year, I really think we'll see a lot more people. And I can safely say, I think we're going to probably have another one. And when I say we're just there to spread the word, but it's really Brandon Cooper and PFRE. So.
Correct. It's funny because the venue couldn't have been more perfect for this, which is what Brandon has told us on our previous conversations before any of us saw it except for him. Mm-hmm. And what I actually fear for next year is that it might outgrow the venue. So while it is a perfect venue, I think the attendance is going to be up significantly once people kind of hear about it and see about it. And hopefully this will convince some people to go next year. And some of the episodes we're going to release down the line, which we'll get into in a little bit. But there's no reason not to go. Well, look, besides Vegas, which I know you're all about the party in the Vegas and the playing the music, but you've been saying for the last few months, I can't wait to, I'm going for the party and just to meet everyone. And there was definitely a part of that, and that's definitely something to go. But at the end of the day, now looking back, how can you not say I learned so much as well on top of that? And that's the most important thing. If you're able to go spend 2 days just learning and doing anything you can to enhance your skill, your knowledge, your business acumen, whatever it is, and you get to meet all these people, hang out with these people that you're virtual friends with, and party a little and play harmonica in a band, what's not to love?
People that weren't there have no idea what we're talking about, but let's just say what happened in Vegas. It didn't stay in Vegas. It went on YouTube, but if you search, you'll find it anyway. I know this stuff will be popping up, but that's a secret. Don't talk about that. Anyway, let's, why don't we go through the speakers from beginning to end, and just you tell me what you got out of it, and I'll tell you what I got out of it, and just kind of like a little recap of the whole event. Sound good?
All right, cool. Yeah, sounds good. So, the event opened with Tony Colangelo, who we know for a while. Mm-hmm. He's been with us on podcasts and webinars, and Tony, I guess, has some experience public speaking, because I remember, about 5 minutes after he came up and delivered his monologue, if you want to call it that, you turned to me and you said, "Oh, Tony's pretty good up there." So Tony was great as an MC. He brought some humor, brought some seriousness, and really did a good job of emceeing the entire event from top to bottom. So kudos to Tony, and we'll talk about his specific presentation in a little bit, but kudos to Tony for emceeing and anything he did along with Brandon to help get this going. But the first speaker or presenter we had was Scott Hargis, who I guess is pretty renowned in the real estate photography industry just for his work. And he probably, I would gather at this point, has the top selling tutorial / ebook for the industry ever made. Maybe he's up there with Mike's now as far as video, but for a while, Scott's was the go-to tutorial. So Scott's, to me, Scott's talk was more motivational than anything else. And I don't know if you felt the same way. And a lot of the speakers were more motivational than anything else. Only I think Wayne was the only one who really discussed technique and or theory, if you want to call what he taught that. But like you said, slow down. I mean, I guess we don't want to divulge too much of what their presentations were, but just the gist of it. But Scott's message was, like you said, slow down, take your time, do your work, and just get better. And the biggest thing I took out of that was the Friday thing, where he said, maybe take a Friday and do something that you want to do, shoot something that you want to shoot, because that'll only help you grow. And I mean, that kind of goes along with what Mike's talk was about also later that we'll get to. But, he kept saying, maybe don't shoot on Friday and do something for yourself on Friday. Do something for you, and that's going to help you grow. So.
Yeah, it was, and anybody who's followed Mike Kelley over the years, and another thing was I couldn't believe Mike Kelley. We went through so much of his career, and he's only been doing this 10 years, and it's just like, what? Are you kidding me? But he really attributes so much of what he does to personal projects, and I'm always been a firm believer that that's a great thing. That's one of the things that I'm going to be doing is trying to do some kind of a personal project or something for myself, just going to shoot. And I'm going to maybe contact friends that have really nice houses and go in and just say, hey, can I come over and shoot one room? Can I shoot your kitchen? And that's going to be it. And this is just a personal project. It's just something you're not doing for money, but you can do it for experience, your portfolio. And that's the takeaway I got. But it was wonderful. And when you said Scott's video used to be, it still is, in my opinion, probably the number one go-to video I would send anybody getting into this business to that video. So Scott's totally pertinent, and he did really share some great information. And everybody who spoke really spent time organizing their presentations and with videos, with images, and with text to really put it together for everyone. So yeah, Scott Hargis, get me to down, do some personal projects, and shoot. I mean, everybody was talking about just shoot what you want to be, shoot what you want to eventually be shooting. So
exactly. I think Tony told a story. I don't remember the exact wordage of a conversation he and Scott, Tony Colangelo, that he and Scott had however many years ago. And apparently Scott said something to Tony along the lines of, find the photographer that inspires you most and be that guy. So, that's a great takeaway from, a little anecdote that Tony told is, yeah, exactly. Figure out what you want to do and go ahead and do it. Become that person and become that photographer that you want to do. And a perfect example, because this pops up so often on all the Facebook groups, is, well, the client wanted me to do this. Well, that's the opposite of what everyone told us. And I agree, that's not going to help you grow. Do what you do. And if not what your clients want you to do, and then you'll be able to mold and get the clients that you want, which actually is probably the perfect segue into Garey, because that's what Garey's, that's what Garey's presentation was about, is getting the job that you want. And that goes with the little story I just told. You figure out what type of work you want to do and the type of clients that are looking for that work that you want to do, and then you'll be able to get your quote unquote ideal client or your target client. So
yeah. And another guy, I mean, I mentioned Mike Kelley doing this 10 years. Garey Gomez, it's like just going on 4 years. So, some people grasp onto this and really excel. But Garey he had a good, he told us about his background. He's had a very, very varied background, and he's done some different things. And he spoke really well. And I'm really proud of him and happy that he was sitting up there with all the old timers, the big guys, and he did quite well. I think he held his own quite well.
Yeah, I messaged Garey earlier today, and I was like, well, now you're sitting among legends, So, Gary's good at what he does, and he got good very quickly. Yeah. But yeah, his message was good. Especially since he's been doing this for such a short amount of time. But I think he really carved out a niche for being able to know what he wants to do from an early stage in his career, and going out and getting it, and not letting his clients dictate what he becomes, and quite the opposite. Go out and shoot what you want, and those clients will fall into your lap in a roundabout way, but those clients come to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the general consensus, what I would say is, they're these people that we follow and would like to emulate. And, for some of us, I think they're just telling you, get to the point where you do what you want to do. And then if your clients like that, it's a good fit. If they don't, then it's not. And I'm seriously dealing with a few new clients that we've got to figure out if they're moving in the same direction that I am. So I'm so motivated by this. But
yeah, no, I'm at that exact point in my career also, because I'm starting to shoot a lot of different stuff now, and the type of work I produce is changing drastically for myself over the last 6 months to a year. And now I'm finally getting to the point where I'm able to tell my clients, my real estate clients, like, this is the type of work I'm going to be producing now. And if you like it, then let's keep on going. Yeah. But this is what I want to do. This is more fulfilling for me. Like, I can't stand in the corner with a 17mm lens and shoot 3.5 walls. That doesn't do it for me. So that's what you're looking for. I can recommend you to somebody, but if you like what I'm producing, go look, this is my new work now. I'd be happy to continue to work with you. So.
And also, it was kind of the message that you can continue to do your shot from the corner of the room, 16mm, but while you're right there, pop in one or two, if you can, throughout the day. Pop in a design shot. Start seeing designs. Start really getting in that mode. And that way, turn your camera vertically and just do a little tighter shot that doesn't take more than a couple of minutes. Your client will never know. You don't have to deliver it to your client. Just try out different things.
Exactly. And, on a shoot, do it. I had a shoot today. I was telling you this earlier, Tony, when we were talking on the phone earlier today. It was a builder shoot that I work for a lot. And I always shoot empty houses for them. This is the first time I ever had this, where they had a $15,000 to $20,000 staging budget. And I walked into their house. They gave me the garage code, which they always do. They never even show up anymore, because I've been working with them for years. So they know the type of work I'm going to produce. And they gave me the garage code, and I walked in and my mouth dropped. And the first text I sent to them right away was like, I love you. Why don't we do this? We need to do this on every property. And, when I shoot for them, when I'm normally there for 2.5 hours, I was there for 4 hours today. Just not only slowing down, but I probably have at least, 4 or 5 portfolio shots from today, just because I was able to take my time. Client wasn't on my back. And, with a staging budget like that, geez, So.
Okay. Well, let's move on. I'm just going to break in here and say at 12:30 we had, and it was also really well timed. Everybody did really great. And across from the stage had a big clock with the time on it. So the speakers all understood, where they were in their speak. We had lunch break, and the hotel, the South Point Inn, which was great. The showroom was right outside the casino. Walked through the casino, and we would sit down 2 days in a row. We sat down with you and I, and we had Matthew Stallone and Jordan Powers. One day we had Casey Youngman and Chris Cole and a couple of other photographers. And it was just so much fun to sit at lunch and having all these people to bounce stuff off of and go around. So it was great.
There were a bunch of other people there too. So if we didn't mention your name,
I apologize.
Don't take it personally. But it was a fun time, and just sitting down and chatting with people. Even that first night we had dinner with, I think, 10 friends of ours who'd been on our show before. And it was just a fun time, just all going out and drinking and eating too, a little.
Yeah. So we had lunch that day, and then at 2:00 we came back, and Tony Colangelo came up with "You Are Your Brand," and that was his speaking engagement. And it was some people, I kind of think I knew it already, but one of the things, Tony used to be a psychologist, so he's always into the mental thing, especially with composition. Another thing he does is branding. He coaches branding, and he just went into a very pertinent segment on how to use branding to make you what you are. And he just went through so many great things, and websites and mental information timelines for how long somebody's attention is, how many photos to put on your website, things like that. And it was very entertaining, informative, and just great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much taught us everything that you need to know about the experience that your customer gets when they deal with you, from customer service to your website to maybe even logos and everything, everything top soup to nuts, I guess, from, branding. And it's funny because, we've done, Tony has a tutorial, we've done a webinar with him, we've had him on the podcast, and all that all the time has always been about composition. And you're like, wow, you've said it yourself, and I've said it to you, wow, Tony knows his stuff when it comes to composition. And he spoke for an hour and a half, nothing to do with composition, a completely total different category, and he nailed it too. I mean, he just went on for an hour and a half on how to work on your brand and enhance your brand. And, I think people forget the importance of it. And what your customers say about you to their friends. I mean, that's word of mouth and referrals is the number one source of marketing. And if you don't have your brand in check, you're not going to get those. So, you can spend $1,000 a month on Facebook ads, but if you're not getting those word of mouth referrals, it's not going to help you.
I just got a word of mouth referral and a new agent an hour ago, and it's great. And and that was just super great stuff. I kind of wish I had recorded it, or nobody could record stuff, but I would love to go over this stuff again. But I'm probably going to be giving Tony a call someday to see if I can set something up for a little more composition and a little more branding information. So great stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I recommend it. Not even Tony, but just the opportunity to work with any sort of mentor or coach. I think it helps, having someone there to just give you feedback on whether it's your work, it's your portfolio, it's your business, no matter who you decide to work with. I think just having that coach or that mentor is crucial to anybody growing in business. And, for me personally, the last 6 to 8 months have been, a huge change in my business working with a mentor. So I think it's huge for anybody. So highly recommend it.
Excellent, though. Tony did a great job along with everybody else. And then 3:30, we had a break. And then 3:45, Nancy Smith, her speak was important trends, updates in the world of social media. And she did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, I think her presentation was kind of tailored a little bit more towards people that are starting to, entry to mid-level social media, not really advanced people like our buddy Matt Stallone you just mentioned, but, people who are, just getting into it, or, they have an Instagram, maybe like you or me, we have an Instagram account and we have a nice amount of followers, but we still don't know any, we don't know those little nooks and crannies and those little tips and tricks just to take us over the top. So, she went over everything from all the different social networks to where you should be posting, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc., and the different types of posts you should be making and how often you should post, stuff like that. So a lot of little tips and tricks, really to get you going. And if you're an entry level social media person, how to get into it and where to start. And then I guess if you're a mid-level person, a bunch of different little things and tips you can do to really just take your social media accounts to the next level.
And I want to say one thing that really struck me. I know Mike Kelley does a lot of speaks, and Scott Hargis, and Garey kind of surprised me because he did a great speak, very, very polished and professional. Tony, of course, but Nancy Smith, I really felt like, I'm sure she's probably done this a lot, but that was so entertaining and well polished and well timed. Everything was just great. So it was not like a put together kind of a speak. It was just a well produced. All of everybody's was well produced, and just a great opportunity to learn and to be entertained by these educators.
Yeah, I mean, when I first came into this, I figured, these presenters would just get on the stage for an hour and just speak, but they all came very well prepared with slides and graphs and pictures. And we got to see some of Scott's first ever real estate pictures and some of Mike's first ever real estate pictures. And Garey, I think, showed some too. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun all around. Got to see everyone's work and how they progressed.
Yeah, really good. And it made me feel a little better. By somebody else's failures always make me, no, that's not the way I want to be. It's okay.
Yeah. All right, cool. And that pretty much wrapped day one as far as the presenters. And then we had the, I guess what they called the night.
Oh, that's just when the day started. That's when the day started. So we went to a little get together on the 25th floor, and I remember it was the loudest hotel room party I've ever been in.
Yeah,
But
it
it
was
was really
sponsored by
fun.
Aereo, who
Hmm.
do some online galleries and tours and websites and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, that like, you are right. I mean, it was a small. I guess it wasn't small. It was a pretty big suite, but there were just so many people packed into there. I remember you turned to me and you're like, "I got to go down. I can't stay in here anymore." But it
Well,
was what's that?
my date was San Chen, so
Uh,
that made it for
that's
me.
not a bad day. You can learn a lot from it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
no, but it was
then
fun
we all went
just being up
downstairs.
there. I'm sorry.
Mhm. No, I was just going to say. Then after the that little thing, we went downstairs for the networking nightcap social, and it was at 7:30, and it was in the ballroom. They changed it for a dance floor. And what was the entertainment there?
They had a band. Well, they had a magician and they had
A
a band.
magician,
A
great
magician
magician. Yeah.
who I heard he was great. I didn't see him. I don't know
Ah,
where I was. I don't know how many I kicked back at that point, but I did not see the musician, unfortunately. But I watched I saw some pictures and watched some videos. But
yeah.
and they had a band. Band was great. And
Hard rock,
hard
rock and
rock cover
hard
band. Yeah.
cover it, just like you would imagine in Vegas, with a really, really, let's just say she was an attractive violin fiddle player. And a lot of people said, "Oh my God, I want to take a fiddle," or "I never wanted to take a fiddle before." But real skin tight stuff, and the guys had long hair, and the lead singer was great, and they just played some favorites, a little bit heavy and loud for my taste, but it was really great, and they were just so good.
Yeah, it was
And
fun.
then,
Everybody who came in got a drink ticket, and
mhm.
everyone just started drinking. And somehow I got a couple of drink tickets, and we all had a good time. And like you said, the band played a big set, and there were a bunch of giveaways. And the band came back, and someone played harmonica with them. Played a
Okay,
little.
I'll tell people that weren't there. I sometimes do this where I'm friends with people. I work with people, and they'll be in a big group and never know. I used to be a harmonica player, but I got up on stage, did a little country ditty.
Seem like you still are a harmonica player. It
I
used to
still
be.
am, but just not. I'm not what I used to be. But it was sure fun to get up there, and everybody just had such
And
a
you played. I
great
guess it was like a
time.
blues song you played over up there.
No, it was a country song.
Oh, wow.
Forget the name of it, but
Close
it was
enough.
fun. Anyway.
But that full video is on the Shooting Spaces page. So if anybody wants
Mhm.
to see Rich tearing it up on stage, you can go there. It was pretty impressive. So
And we had, there was a couple other things there about the giveaway.
yeah, we gave away a
We,
bunch of think tank stuff. It was pretty fun.
yeah, so a
Yeah.
couple of rollers. One was a roller that was, God, it was probably about a $375 roller backpack for your lenses and gear, and some pixel pockets. We threw out some Shooting Spaces t-shirts. It was so much fun. We had the rolling thing where the cage, and you
The
open it up,
raffle,
and
yeah.
a raffle, and pull out the name. And somebody won a Cam Ranger 2.
Yeah, I heard
Uh-huh.
that. Coincidentally, right after you released your video, somebody won a Cam Ranger too. So
I released a video where you probably seen it if you're listening to us, and I was just Cam Ranger 2 isn't for me, but it swear to God, in the raffle, guess who won a Cam Ranger 2? And I actually donated it to the next. We picked out another raffle drawing because it just didn't seem right, but it really shocked me, and I think it shocked Brandon too. But what are the odds of that? But
yeah, no, but it was fun. And like you said, we threw out a bunch of t-shirts. People loved it. Did I tell you that earlier that afternoon, I went to the business center at South Point Hotel and asked them if they have one of those t-shirt launcher guns, but they did not, because that would have made the throwing at the t-shirt significantly more fun. But
and if you have one, bring it next year to
yes,
Vegas.
well, maybe we should invest in one for next year.
Okay, that'd be good.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, because we'll use that pretty often. So
And I wrapped it up about 1 a.m. In the room, and in the ballroom, the club, and just hanging out with my buddy Peter Lyons and a couple other people, just talking about photography and everything. And that I just want to say, man, we didn't really talk a lot about how we met. I met people that I never known, but I know of, and it was like we were all best friends, and everybody. There was never an uncomfortable moment for anybody, and people from all over 10 countries, and hundreds of hundreds, and just everybody had something in common. So that was really, really special.
Oh, very nice. I wish I called it a night at 1 a.m., but it was a little later for me. I ended up at the In-N-Out Burger along the strip at about 1:30 a.m. Not sure how that happened, but a bunch of us, Tony was there, Tony Colangelo and Tony Roslund, both Tonys ended up there, Aaron Kraft, Jordan Powers, and a ton of other people. If I'm missing you, I apologize, but we all jumped in a bunch of Ubers and just started pounding some burgers at 1:30 a.m.
So if you want to just come to the conference next year for just to go to In-N-Out, if you're from the East Coast, that's alone makes it worthwhile.
I agree, 100%.
Okay. This episode of Shooting Spaces is brought to you by HD Photo Hub. With modern marketing tools for your clients and a powerful back office to help you stay organized and efficient, HD Photo Hub is the secret weapon of successful real estate photographers everywhere. When you register with promo code Shooting Spaces, you'll get a free total marketing kit for your first property. Check them out at hdphotohub.com. HD Photo Hub, where great photos become powerful marketing. That's hdphotohub.com.
All right, let's jump into day two because time is flying over here.
Yeah.
So we started off day two with a bang. Mike Kelley came on strong, and I know you mentioned a couple of things he spoke about already, but he obviously he gave the story of his life and how he got started, which I'm sure most of you have heard somewhere along the lines, whether it's his videos or some other place that you found him. And he showed some of his early work, and then he kind of went into the importance of personal projects, which is what you just what you just spoke about a little bit. And I think he's a perfect testament to that because and he said this, a lot of his career literally got kicked off because of some personal projects he was doing, I think, out in Iceland. So, it's just, I guess, good advice for anybody who's in this industry that wants to just try to do new things and broaden your creativity is just, find something that you're passionate about and go out and go take it.
And he was taught, what did he call... everybody knows that photograph, the airplane photograph, airplanes taking off, photograph that went viral, psycho gaga. Yeah. And what did he say though? It's just, you can do a project, you can do something, you can license an image or set your life up where he has got, what did he call it? Residual?
Passive income.
Passive income forever. Yeah. And it just was really inspiring going, boy, there's so many things that I can work towards. And that was it. And just to see how all of those things have manifested and grown and become part of him, just wonderful. And
well, exactly. He was saying that, sorry for interrupting, that he set himself up with his passive income between his licensing and selling of his fine art prints that he can literally go a year without shooting and he'd be okay. So the concept is, to set yourself up in a situation where you have this passive income where you're making money, not really doing much or not doing anything. And you have that safety.
Yeah. Great. But he was great. And he's a pretty fun guy. It had a lot of silly moments and stuff, but really you sit back and you just go, wow, I could do that too. And he's just did so many things right. And I mean, so many things that you can learn from Mike Kelley on many levels, that he's just set himself up to do what the job he wants to do, to have the life he wants to have. Mm-hmm. So great.
All right, cool. And then next we had Rachel Brenke, sorry. And she was quite a character. I mean, we knew this because we did the Facebook Live with her, and she was a personality, all right. But she was definitely fun on stage. I can tell you that.
Sailor mouth warning. But she was great, and her speak was called real legal steps to a protected real estate photography business. So she dealt with, the thing I took away from that was register your copyright. And that's a really good one.
Yeah, man. She was saying it's inexpensive. It's like $75 to register, to each batch of registrations, which you can put up to 750 images. So exactly. So, you do that every 3-4 months. And, as she said, it's a business write-off. And that, you're protected if anything happens to any one of your images down the line. It just makes things significantly easier if you have to go the legal route. So,
and she really impressed that legally wise, it's better to set yourself up at the beginning than try and clean it up after the fact. And that was a really, really good takeaway for me. And another thing she said, and this is good for everybody, even if you're not really going to be licensing photos and stuff like that. But as far as contracts, get your contract together and don't go download a contract online and then go in and try and cut and paste and make it your own. Get a lawyer, and it's reasonable. I mean, really, I don't know what price she said, but make your own contract that really pertains to photography for one and you for two. So that's a big one, and that's a big thing for me in 2020 is I'm going to work on my contracts and also do some registration of copyright of my images.
Sure. And I mean, if you're not, I mean, I suggest everyone go out and speak to their attorney and get a contract written up. But if you're not, in the very least, Rachel does have some contract templates available for purchase on her site. So if you're not going to go out and get your own attorney, at least that's the second best option. So definitely look into what she has for sale because you need to have something.
Lawtog.com, if I'm
Lawtog, yeah. LAWTOG.
Wait, is it the Lawtog or Lawtog?
I don't know. But
okay. Anyway, look up Rachel
the
Brenke.
Lawtog.
Yeah, okay. Brenke. But she was really fun. And again, sailor mouth, but it was appropriate. So it was really fast moving, heavy hitting. And I'll tell you something, I wouldn't want to be on the other end of a lawsuit with Rachel.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. And next up, we had Tony Roslund.
Tony.
Yeah, Tony's great. I mean, everyone knows Tony from his architecture tutorial and his podcast. He has a podcast as well. And I never met Tony, but he's a great guy. Really stand up. And he likes to drink beer. And and yeah, he had a great speech also. He talked, obviously he talked about his work and what he does and how he got started. And we got to hear some fun stories from him about when he got started. But he talked about pricing and the best way to price and how he prices, and outsourcing too, and how he outsources. And he broke down the numbers, which I think was great for people to really understand. When he broke down, I don't know if you remember this, he broke down the specific numbers of what he pays for outsourcing compared to the time he works, and showed you how much he really makes with outsourcing, but only working a certain amount of days a week. And it really changes your perspective on things when you're like, oh my gosh, why am I shooting 6 houses a day, 5 days a week when I can do this, this, and this and work significantly less. So, and make, the same or more money. So, he spoke great, and it was definitely good to hear from him, especially from, a fellow educator, and I've watched his tutorial personally and it really took a lot from it. So.
And I will say the thing I took away from it was how he presented, how he prices everything. And one thing he said, and it hit me so well, was instead of using day rate, use creative fee, which includes your day rate. But, he kind of said things like, the better you get, the more time you spend doing this, the faster you get. So why should you be penalized because it takes you less time to do it? But basically all I'm saying is he worded it so there are just different ways to make it appear to your client that they're getting more value out of you. And that is also including a thing called cost sharing. And I do cost sharing, but I'm actually in the process, and I actually sent a little thing to my shoot on Friday about cost sharing. And it's just a way of really maneuvering the numbers and things to make it appear like they're getting more for their value. And not, they're spending more, but it's not like spending more. It's more like, oh, I'm getting more value. So
each client specifically actually spends less money when you start doing cost sharing. So
correct.
For them, it's obviously a benefit. I just had that on a commercial shoot recently for a kitchen space, a commercial kitchen, where my client was able to get Wolf Sub-Zero ranges to chip in $1,000 to the shoot. And it in turn lowered my client's shoot cost down. So, and I made more money. So yeah, cost sharing is definitely a great way to go. I don't think it's as prevalent in the real estate industry as opposed to more commercial
correct
work.
Correct.
just because, with real estate, you're talking about such low numbers. But, in general, it's something to think about. And, if someone can figure out a cool way to do some course sharing on the real estate industry, I'd definitely like to hear it because, I can't imagine it wouldn't work. Just the numbers are a lot lower. So it's probably a little bit more difficult to come up with a scheme or a plan.
But with that said, yes, real estate, you don't think as much about licensing, but in reality, you are. You're licensing these photos for each particular MLS listing. And he put it a really interesting way. And when you've got an agent that doesn't really understand, although they should all understand that they don't own the image, you own the image, and they are basically licensing the image for the use of that one listing. He said you can talk to them and tell them licensing, and I'm paraphrasing here, licensing is like software, intellectual property. Just because you paid for it doesn't mean you can give it away. So if you bought a copy of Microsoft Office, doesn't mean you can give it to your friend. So maybe that your clients that are giving you a hard time or don't understand it, maybe that'll make it more understandable. And that was a really good takeaway for me. And I'm going to be saying that to people if I need to explain licensing.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, that was a great analogy, and I'm going to be using that as well for sure. I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding
Sorry,
me.
Tony, we're stealing everything from you and sending it out on the airwaves in our podcast, but it's good information, and I thank you for giving it to us.
Cool. And after we had another launch, our good friend Wayne Capili came on, and Wayne's subject was light farming, and he also went into teaching the zone system for exposure for luminosity, I guess, which I've heard of, didn't know too much about, but I got some good takeaways there on how to kind of look at exposure and light at a scene differently, and how to learn how to compensate for the highlights, shadows, midtones, not light flickering. Try to expose for the different light luminosity gradations you see across the scene.
And the really interesting part about that whole thing about the zone, I think I call it zone method, but yeah. I'm pretty sure it was invented by Ansel Adams. And the fun fact is Wayne Capili was assisted for Ansel Adams. And,
yes.
A lot of people don't know that, but we've talked about it on a podcast before. But it was just really cool, really, really cool. And he did go into light farming. I will be honest with you, I wish he spent a little more time on the light farming because it's a technique I'd like to know better. Oh, you've got good lights there. Yeah, I'll take over while Brian fixes his electricity. But I just want to say that the light farming portion of this really was interesting and it showed me a little better. And the interesting thing about the speak is if you watched light farming and you know what it is, it's just basically going in a direction. I usually go from outside in and I'll light all the areas. And that way I have already set up lights and I'm lit and then I go from one room to the next room to the next room, and I don't have to really relight the whole thing. Well, he did it backwards. He started in one room and then went back to the outside room and then had that already lit. And then he moved to the back room, outside room. So I'm just going to turn in where I was used to do it going forward. I'm going to do it going back. So I did learn that from Wayne Capili's speak, and it was very entertaining. And Wayne is always great, as always. So, it was so much fun.
Awesome. And then after Wayne, we had a little break and we had the panel discussion, which might have been the highlight of the event. I'm not sure. I guess everyone has their own opinion, but just hearing, I guess it was they were all up there except for Nancy. So all the panelists besides Nancy up there, just taking questions submitted by the audience was just incredible. They had a really cool system where you can go to a specific URL on your phone and type in a question, and everybody else can see the questions and vote for those questions. And as more people voted for that question, it went to the top. And then Vince Calora, who was the moderator, who did an excellent job, by the way. Vince was the moderator. He went ahead and asked those questions and started those discussions. So it was really cool just hearing so many different topics from all the different panelists.
It was kind of informal. It was kind of fun. A little back and forth.
A lot of humor.
Between Rachel Brenke and Tony Roslund. But really, really fun. And we all got some really good feedback from that. And I look forward to hearing more about that.
Yeah, so a bit of good news on that. We were after a little bit of a hustle a couple minutes before, we got permission to record that panel discussion. I think it was about an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes.
Hmm.
And we got permission from Brandon and any other legalities he had to deal with. And we're going to release that in the next couple of weeks as a full episode. We're just going to release the full panel discussion from start to finish. So it'll be great for people who were not there, and for people who were there who want to re-listen back to just listen to that panel discussion from from start to finish. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get any video of it. So, there are certain points where people are going to have to try to differentiate one speaker from the other. But, after 5 minutes, you'll kind of figure out everyone's voice and be able to go from there. So it'll be pretty cool. But that'll be an awesome episode. Don't have a date yet, but in the next couple of weeks, we'll be releasing that.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that about wrapped it up. It was at the end, everyone kind of hung around the room and just chit-chatted for a half hour, an hour, just talking to each other, saying goodbyes, because some people stayed till Friday. Some people were stupid and just peeled out 2 hours later, like myself. But it was fun just hanging out a little bit and saying goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, we had a really, I had a meaningful time. It was fun. It was so great on so many levels. But it's also when you were thinking about coming to this conference, you saw the speakers and you wondered, well, is it going to be for me? This and that. It was in Vegas. You know what you know. What you don't know is the things you can't tangibly touch and say what you're going to get. The times you're going to have conversations with people, like-minded people, that you're going to learn things from. So I want to say, for me, it was easily 50% was the conference itself, and the other 50% was my relationships and meeting people and the discussions and the moments that you can't put a price on. And that was really great. And I don't want to get sappy about it, but it really was special. And the great thing is, everybody really, the vibe was so intense that everybody was just on like this super high for 2 days. And I was blessed to be there, and and just to even meet you, Brian, and spend time with you, talking about stuff, talking about our future with not our, what I mean, the future with the podcast there, but just to talk about stuff like that is just, it was wonderful and so much fun, and to see some of our legends. I mean, to just hang out with all the guys and just, I can't tell you how much fun it is. So
Yeah, no,
you got to go.
Exactly. And that goes to show you, because, you just used the 50-50 example, everything leading up. And I said this before, everything leading up, you were just like, I just can't wait to meet everyone and party. And, now you're, now you said, 50% of that was just learning. And I think that just goes to show that, as big as just networking and meeting everyone and just, shooting the shit, if you want to call it that. One thing we took away, did we not say that after, is that we have to have more profanities on our podcast.
Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that.
Well, there you go. I just did it for you.
There was so much potty mouth at the conference that it was just great, but not terrible. You could get, if you didn't like it, it wouldn't offend you. But really, it was just like, loosen up.
I didn't see anybody getting up and leaving. So
yeah,
yeah, just being with everyone and just talking shop for 2 days was just fantastic. So.
And I want to say one thing. I just got to take this moment to really say I was blown away by my YouTube fans or followers out there. I probably had 200 people at least individually come up to me and just shake my hand. And that made my heart happy. And it just made me feel so good, because everybody's like, I watch your videos, this and that. And I don't want to harp on that, but I do have to do a big shout out for everyone who came up to me. Super nice people. And I want to show this. We even got a T-shirt from he's from one of the attendees
Dominican Republic. Yeah.
He's from the Dominican Republic. He brought T-shirts for Brian and I. I mean, how nice is that? I
should have put mine on, but nevertheless, thank you. Yeah, Tiago has he's submitted and asked the guys before, and I think he submitted an article on our Shooting Spaces blog about photographing yachts. So you can go check that out. But yeah, thank you for the T-shirt, Tiago. Definitely much appreciated, and good hanging with you for a couple of minutes. So
Yeah, just one of so many people that came and just great. And also a big shout out to all my workshop attendees. I just got to see so many people I knew and so many people I've known virtually, or as my wife calls it, fake friends. But now they're real friends. So that was the best part to me.
All right, cool. Well, I think we're about out of time. That about wraps it up. But we wanted to obviously get this recorded and released to you as soon as we can post-conference. So it's still fresh in everyone's mind. And while it's still fresh in our minds, because once we get back to shooting, you know how that goes. Everyone knows how that goes. You get involved with, back involved with your business and shooting and editing, and that takes over. But I think, Rich, I can speak for both of us when I say if you don't go next year, as long as there is one next year, which I think, from what I heard, there's going to be, you are missing out not only a good party, a good time, but also just a wealth of knowledge that you're missing out on for your photography, for your business. And, I do hope that next year there'll be some more presentations on actual technique, but Brandon definitely did a good job at getting some, inspirational presenters and motivation to get us to literally just give us all a little kick in the ass to get us moving. So
yeah, huge shout out to Brandon Cooper, who his brainchild, and he went way over top, and everything was fantastic. So I want to thank you, Brandon. And I look forward to hopefully being able to opportunity to brainstorm and to see what direction this goes. And that's the thing. This first year, I can guarantee right now there's going to be a second year, and buy your tickets early, because I think it's going to sell out big time this year. And it is just something that is going to be moving forward. And we're going to look back and go, man, remember that first year? It was so great. So don't miss year number 2.
If it's in the same venue, I definitely would say to anyone, grab your tickets right away, because the venue doesn't hold much more people than we had. And if it's in the same venue, I think he's going to sell out pretty quick. So,
and I can guarantee you, unless something comes up for somebody, everybody's going to come again next year. It's
sure,
that kind of thing.
All right, cool, awesome. Rich. So we just want to, as usual, remind everyone, submit some Ask the Guys questions. We need to produce some of those questions for you. So submit your questions. We have a bunch in the queue, but we always need more. So if you have, an extra 90 seconds free in your car and wherever, just record a message either in the little widget on our website or in your voice memo app on your phone. And you can email it to us, whatever you want to do. Just send over a question and we'll do our best to get to it, or get somebody who knows a little bit more than we do, which is most people, about it. So,
and going into 2020, we're going into 2020, and just remember, slow down, register your copyright, work on your composition, scout photos and discuss during shot list. If you're going to do something, do it well. Wait for the light. MikeKelleyArt.com. Do not devalue your work. Build value in yourself. Creative fee, day rate, and licensing. Licensing is like software. Print and ad billboards are extra, and cost sharing and outsource. There we go. Okay, that's what I took away in a nutshell. So
you need some water now?
Take care, and so drink some water and go shoot some spaces.
This episode is brought to you by iGuide. iGuide makes it easy for you to quickly capture laser-accurate room measurements and square footage calculations, immersive 3D tours, detailed floor plans, and offer a complete listing solution to real estate agents and brokers. With iGuide, you stand out from your competition. Get your first 3 standard iGuide tours free by adding shooting spaces in the referral section at purchase. Visit goiguide.com to learn more.
This has been Shooting Spaces. For more episodes, visit shootingspacespodcast.com and visit our education site at shootingspaces.net.